International migration, problem or solution? First, let's figure out exactly what is migration. The Social Problems text defines migration as the movement of people from one geographic area to another for the purpose of changing residency. There are two different types of migration: immigration, the movement of people into a geographic area, and emigration, the movement of people out of a geographic area. International migration is a current global phenomenon that is growing in scope, complexity, and impact. Since migration involves the movement of people from one place to another, it has a cause and effect on both of those places. Those causes and effects, whether positive or negative, will be discussed in this video. But in the end, you will have to decide for yourself. Is international migration a problem or a solution? Approximately 214 million people are living away from their place of birth. This number equals about 3% of the world's population. After reading that, I wondered why so many people were so focused on 3% of our population. I mean, how could 3% of any population cause so many issues? To answer this question, I looked up statistics and theories on how migration hurts and helps both the place of origin and the new residency of these migrants. These pros and cons were retrieved from embraceni.com. First, I will start with the place of origin. Some positive effects for the country of origin include developing countries benefit from payments sent home by migrants, unemployment is reduced, and young migrants enhance their life prospects, and lastly, returning migrants bring savings, skills, and international contacts. Now, some negative effects for the country of origin include economic disadvantage through the loss of young workers, loss of highly trained people, especially health workers, and social problems for children left behind or growing up without a wider family circle. Although it is beneficial for the countries of origin when these more skilled workers return home, the countries of origin are at a higher disadvantage while the workers are away. The whole country doesn't stop needing those workers. In fact, migration to other countries leaves the countries of origin searching for more workers and often struggling. A lot of times, adults leave their families and immigrate to other countries in order to provide for their families back home. But this does take a toll on the families that are left behind. Now for the positive and negative effects on the host countries. Some positive effects include job vacancies and skill gaps can be filled, economic growth can be sustained, services to an aging population can be maintained when there are insufficient young people locally, the pension gap can be filled by the contributions of new young workers, and they also pay taxes. Immigrants bring energy and innovation, host countries are enriched by culture diversity, and failing schools and those with failing numbers can be transformed. Some negative effects include depression of wages may occur, but that seems to be temporary. Having workers willing to work for relatively low pay may allow employers to ignore productivity, training, and innovation. Migrants may be exploited. Increases in population can put pressure on public services. Unemployment may rise if there are unrestricted numbers of incomers. There may be integration difficulties and friction with local people. Large movements of people lead to more security monitoring. Ease of movement may facilitate organized crime and people trafficking. It seems extremely important for the people whose origin is in the host countries to understand the benefits on immigration into their country. These migrant workers normally work for less pay, and they seem to work harder than those currently living in the country. Having the diversity of other cultures is such an important part of helping in the renovation and innovation with these countries. Also, there are many countries whose older people are beginning to outnumber the younger people. This means that those countries are losing their workforce. When immigrants migrate to other countries, it helps rebuild and sustain the workforce. Of course, all pros must come with some cons. But with proper laws on migration, it seems to be an extremely beneficial part of building stronger nations. Many people do not believe that these workers are helping local economies, but rather these people are damaging local economies. However, that statement doesn't seem to hold much merit according to most statistics. In an article posted in the U.S. News by Lauren Fox, it states that the immigration reform will actually boost the economy substantially. The Congressional Budget Office estimated the Senate bill would cut the deficit by more than $680 billion. And a July study by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy showed that reform would boost state and local tax revenues by $2 billion a year. Here's a clip that explains why immigrants can be part of the solution in rebuilding the host country's economies.
It's not just homogeneous labor. Everybody's not the same. Many of the immigrants come to this country have a different skill set from the Americans here. As a result, rather than substituting for American labor, they complement it. They free us up to do tasks that we are better suited to, while they perform tasks that they are better suited to. Immigrants to this country tend to be either very highly skilled or very low skilled, whereas most Americans in the economy tend to be somewhere in the middle. As a result, immigrants tend to free up U.S. labor to do the things that we're better skilled at doing, while they do the tasks that we don't do as well. As a result, we're able to have higher wages for both us and them.
As seen through the many pros and cons of immigration, the 3% of the world's population has a major effect on all the nations. It seems that the host countries are actually benefiting from migration quite well. They just need to have better laws to deal with it. The countries that seem to be harmed by international migration are the countries of origin. Since these countries tend to be underdeveloped countries, they need all the workforce they can get, but they are losing such workforces to migration. After all is taken into consideration, I believe that migration is definitely a solution to many of the world's problems. But all solutions seem to cause other problems that need to be solved. International migration will help sustain, cultivate, and innovate other countries through diversity, younger workforce, and differentiating skill sets. I don't believe that international migration is able to solve all of the nation's economic, racial, or social problems. But allowing international migration is a great step in finding the solution to any nation's problems.